so $1.30 starting now.
Hey.
All right, I'm Pat.
Hey, I'm Jeffrey.
This is Coffee Before Bed.
Yeah.
The podcast that suddenly seems somewhat structured.
We have rules.
We have rules now.
I don't know what to say about it. It's kind of hard to be like a middle-aged white anarchist forever.
Right.
I mean,
What's an anarcho-syndicalist? I heard this somewhere. Do you know what that is?
Say those words again.
Anarcho-syndicalist. Yeah, I don't know either, man.
Syndicalist?
Yeah, I don't understand what that is.
You got me.
Yeah, okay. All right.
I thought you were like leaning into celibacism or something like that.
What is celibacism?
Celibacism is a very arrogant philosophy of like the only thing that's real is you. It's a weird.
So you're a figment of my imagination.
It's well.
You're a product of my consciousness.
No, it's like. Yeah. Okay. So the view or theory that the self is all that can be known to exist.
Okay.
And it's.
That sounds a little greedy to me.
Well, it's not.
I mean, I wouldn't say the word self-centered, but that's almost apparent.
It's by definition self-centered.
Right. Yeah.
It's a completely egocentric philosophy. The only reason I came about it was because I was researching the rather dorky tenets of the Church of Satan. And that's one of the, that's actually one of the fundamentals.
Why were you researching that?
Well,
you looking for a new religion? You want to market, Jeff?
I don't know if I want to get into that, but I have an interesting study of a lot of religions. So I say that I was never shopping for a like. This is the branch for me.
Well, I thought you were going to be a Jew.
Yes, and that depends on mailbox money, and that was
right.
The whole concept of that was me reaching that threshold was proof that I was one of Yahweh's, and if that happened, that's kind of like Calvinism, actually.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I was like, all right, well, if that means that I'm one of you guys, then all right, then I will unbutton 2 buttons.
Right, get some gold chains.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, grow some chest hair.
Yeah. I'll get implants.
Yeah, you get implants. Yeah, you can afford it. You got car wash money.
And I got to tell you, I don't know if... Patrick, what I don't know is whether or not crypto mining counts as mailbox money.
Oh, I guess it does when you get to a certain point. I don't know, man. It depends on what happens with the ravioli markets too.
I agree.
Yeah,
and that's sort of the.
Because what is it right now? Like, when are they supposed to do Ether 2.0? They keep putting that off.
Oh, yeah, it's been put off for 4 years. They say that this is supposed to take place in August.
So so anything on crypto Twitter or whatever is instantaneously discounted as bullshit. And so it's very hard to actually get a decent analytical view of it because I never see analysts who are consistently right about anything in that market.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So, but like that one, like all of the things that you see in crypto, like, well, it's going to make it overtake and we're going to have the flippening, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's one argument. The other one is, it's going to be the death of Ether. And there's no like nuance in between the two where it's like, okay, so if you're going to go to proof of stake, all right, does that mean that it's going to stay in the number 2? Is it going to stay in the silver spot now at this point in time? Who the fuck knows, man? So
right. What you're talking about here is the commentary that people can give about stocks in general is based off of not only analysis from when the market changed and I don't even want to say like changed radically. It's changed over time, but it's
Yeah.
been a thing, and there's been a version of it for a very, very long time. You have historical data points and a lot of things to compare it to.
You mean the stock market?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right now, essentially, as far as I'm concerned, when it comes to crypto, right now, what you're doing is you're writing articles about trying to present yourself as an expert as how to make money on roulette, right?
Yeah.
And
Well, that's like NFTs are the same fucking way, and those have crashed bad.
so has that whole market. So is the whole concept of this. So is
Yeah.
so right now, as far as that works out, nobody knows. The one thing, the one interesting point that I take my information from the guys trying to profit from it. So the actual mining agencies, the ones that pay you out for this, their point was, all right, let's talk about what point of stake or proof of stake is going to do. They say like, all right, so why did Ether come out of this bunch? All right, and they break down. It's like, all right, but you guys got to understand, Ether wasn't Ether for this until this point.
Right.
It's like, okay, gotcha. It's like, so when they leave this market, okay, there's no guarantee on this, but if you're thinking that there won't be another Ether that comes out of this, you're wrong.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
It's like, oh, okay, well, I feel better. It's like in the interim, is there probably going to be some weirdness? Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably. But
well, none of this will affect Classic, though, right?
no, but Classic is its own thing. It's still,
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And it's a question of whether that'll take back off or it'll be something different. I don't know, right? Nobody does. But
I don't know.
fact of the matter is they're going to have a ridiculous amount of hashing at their disposal. Now, if you're going to tell me that people don't come out of that looking like champs, you're wrong. You're absolutely wrong. Because that means that the entire pool that was basically devoted to Ethereum and occasionally...
Yeah, it's going to go over to Classic.
Well, it's going to go wherever it is that's getting the highest returns.
Right, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And if you have that... like, just think about it this way for a second, okay? If you're a businessman, if you think about this in a traditional sense, and you're like, all right, well, I don't have a business necessarily, but what I do have here is I have a huge labor pool, right?
Yeah.
People worth their shit will sit there and say, well, what are the resources available to me? Well, I have a ton of workers, and they're skilled at this. All right, well, then I need to put this in place. I have the labor pool. I don't need to train them, right?
Right, yeah. So you're talking theoretically here, like people who actually have the hash power.
Well, basically, a lot of people who have...
rigs.
yeah.
Yeah. The ability to be able to mine.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, will people profit off that? Yes.
Yeah, they will. Yeah.
You know, I was concerned about that for a while, but I was like,
No, I mean, there was a lot of uncertainty kind of going on. There still is in some respects, but like the Ukraine thing,
yeah,
that's not going away anytime soon. I think everybody's kind of got used to the idea that it's not going to go nuclear.
I severely doubt it.
Yeah, no. Russia's probably going to win, but it's going to take a long time.
And
it's going to be ugly.
What will victory mean is a great question. I don't know.
Yeah. So, but you know, it's kind of like markets are changing a little bit. So even the traditional, the traditional markets are changing quite a bit. So I'm actually dumping a lot of my tech stuff. So
I don't know what to think. I don't. This is.
It's time to make an inflation play. So that's what I'm doing, man.
That's why
I'm gonna do oil.
In the blood of the earth.
The blood of the earth, dinosaur blood. I want dinosaur blood, and I want consumer goods. So I already lined up my Costco purchases. So I think that one's good.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So now the next thing is to actually get rid of some of my tech. So I'm really scared of anything that's got heavy duty exposure to China right now. So
I understand why.
yeah, I'm getting rid of some of that stuff. I've made a lot of money off my Apples and my Teslas over the years, so it's time to back off some of that shit. So
okay,
not all the way, but you know. profit taking is something that you have to do in investing every now and then. So, lock it in, man.
Yeah, I mean, there's a sense like this. We always sort of get that thing every 5, 10 years,
Hmm.
where people lock in and they say, no, this is just the way that this is the new normal. This is how it's going to be. If you look at the graph, well, boy, howdy, right?
Yeah,
But in the history of all markets, forever, right?
sure.
There's always certain variables that come into it, like, yeah, but a whole lot of weird things would have to happen, and then you're like, a whole bunch of weird things happen, like, oh.
Oh shit. Yeah.
I watched a piece basically about the superfuck status of Sri Lanka, um, and
Sri Lanka, off the coast of India.
yeah, and the reason that this came up was a fascinating examination of. Remember in 2008, we looked at certain indicators that this house of cards would have just continued to go the way it did unless certain things fell out, right? So, this domino falls, this domino falls, this domino falls, and it exposes that there's problems, right?
Yeah.
And, and so in Sri Lanka, they were pointing out, like, so the last thing they pointed to was grades 9 through 12, all canceled tests because their schools cannot afford to provide paper and pens.
Oh my God.
Right. And then they talked about all the things that go into this and why this country, on the periphery here, is absolutely imploding, and in a matter of weeks, their entire middle class has been wiped out.
They're middle class.
The entire middle class has been wiped out.
Yeah.
And what they said was, why is this a problem? They said, well, because this is Sri Lanka. And that means that all of these countries that are very similar to them, okay, are also teetering on the exact same spot for the same,
But what are the underlying reasons for that?
Well, it all has to do with
Is it oil?
that was part of it. That was kind of like the 2008 thing was it's this plus pandemic plus this,
Oh,
right?
okay.
And inflation and stuff like this, and it comes down to how a lot of we have an immunity to it because we're the ones that have the dollar.
We have the dollar.
Whereas all these other nations have to trade and get their dollars.
Get dollars, yeah.
And a lot of these nations on the outside, the way that they've been managing their economies is basically sort of artificially changing the value of their exchange rates to maintain stability. Right?
Yeah.
But what's happening here is as resources dwindle and disappear on them, right? They no longer have the capital to maintain what it takes to stabilize their currency.
Yeah, so with the strengthening dollar, it's basically pushing everybody off the cliff on the other end of the spectrum.
Well, that's part of it. Yeah, and so that also means that they're basically overvaluing their currency, but other places are exchanging for lower amounts. So it's kind of crazy. There's a lot of stuff, and it's like, well, so if this happens to all these countries, what is the knock-on effect that happens? It's like, well, I don't know, and that's part of the problem is nobody knows.
Yeah, well, I mean, like for us, it's pretty straightforward. Mm-hmm. So since everything that we do is denominated in dollars, it means that our imports get cheaper and our exports actually obtain more for their value.
Well, then that was the fascinating.
Yeah, that is interesting. I hadn't thought really about that, because the dollar hasn't necessarily been devaluating a lot.
No, it's actually strengthening against a lot of other currencies.
Well, for the last month or so, yeah, it's been going gangbusters, man. So that's one of those things that, like, back to raviolis, it's tracking perfectly with the Bitcoin in many respects,
right?
Which it's not supposed to do, But if you think about it, if like Bitcoin is just a way to get digital dollars right now, then it actually kind of makes fucking sense. You know, yeah, your crypto anarcho-capitalists won't like that answer.
No, it don't. But
But you know, I mean, it's been pegged basically around the 30,000 mark.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon, man.
Well, I kind of like that because the hot theory right now, right, is basically the big supposition, and I kind of agree with this because this has sort of, you know, demonstrated itself over time, is the way that this is leveled out, and it has seen its slides and it's seen its gains, and the fact that it has maintained its stability around 30 is actually a good sign for me.
Yeah.
Because that means that a lot of the people that were afraid didn't dump in a hurry. They're starting to reinvest in this. I'm like, all right, that's cool.
Well, it's getting rid of some of the riffraff.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree.
We don't need them. But
no, we don't need them.
But the thing about this was something that they pointed out and said, all right, well, this is how the United States doesn't lose in the trade deficit because they're the United States. They have an immunity to this because, all right, we have a trade deficit with countries like China. It's like, all right,
Yeah.
so that means that more of their stuff comes in than we send out.
Yeah.
However, what they do with the money they get is they send it back to us.
Yeah, they do.
And so it's like it's a trade deficit, but it's not.
No, it's not.
Right.
It's always been a paper deficit. So
Which, yeah, it's just
we send them pieces of paper, they send us fucking TVs. It's a pretty good deal.
yeah. So there's a kind of a misnomer on it. I was like, they said, but this only works here.
It only works
Exclusively here.
Yeah, it works only here because you have the global asset reserve. So the global reserve asset. I got into somebody with at the bar a little while ago who's definitely on the anarcho-capitalist. You know, should go back to gold. Peter, what's that fucking guy's name?
Dinesh D'Souza.
Dinesh D'Souza. Yes. There's a guy who keeps showing up. He's a gold bug whose dad got arrested for fucking tax evasion. He lives in Puerto Rico. Fuck, what the fuck is his name? He shows up on podcasts every now and then. But he's the guy that always, like, every time. So, like, anything in the economy is like, buy gold. And so over the course, I've been listening to him say this, it's Peter Schiff. That's his name. His name is Peter Schiff.
I know Peter Schiff.
Yeah. Peter Schiff.
I know goddamn Peter Schiff.
I know, man. So the guy's been saying buy gold for 30 fucking years, and he's been right twice. So I guess if you keep pushing the red button, you know, eventually the roulette wheel comes up red, man. So, you know, with like, you know, a frequency where it's like, well, it should have come up 50% of the time, but it's come up 2 times in 28 years. So.
But you're not gonna. Here's the thing: you're not gonna go wrong buying gold. I'm sure this. But look, here's the thing where like you can sit there and look at gold as a scam compared to, say, again, any kind of digital currency. I'm going to say this for this reason because gold has almost exclusively become a store of value, not a you. If you're buying it because you're like, I've got a hot tip, like what? It's like they're gonna lay 5,000 miles of cable that only works with gold conduction.
Right, yeah.
Right? Not gonna happen, right? They're not gonna sit there and say there's a run on jewelry. No, fuck that. No, this is a store of value. Whereas I can actually point at this and say, well, the chain actually does work.
Yeah.
It is also a store of value, depending on your perspective, but it is a working process.
Yeah. The thing about like blockchain is that we don't know exactly what's possible with it. So, and you know, the thing is eventually you got to get to the point in time where you do address the issue of money laundering somehow. I don't know how to do that, man. But like, whenever you have those guys at the fucking table, it's not really a serious asset still.
No.
Yeah.
No.
And so you got to get those guys away from the table somehow. I don't know the tech behind it. So all I can say is that, like, all right, if we're dealing in diamonds and booty, you know, eventually,
As
in
we
order to
must.
take it seriously,
Yeah.
you've got to get the pirates away from the table.
You do. Well, I mean,
you gotta have fewer eye patches around the table, man.
No.
We can stitch them together. It's not a big deal.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
All right. Crash averted.
are we going again?
Yeah, we're good.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
What was the timestamp of the crash?
It was 109:18 was remaining, so that would be
Like 21 minutes?
21:40.
Okay, that 21's fine. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. All right, but yeah, so the trick of this was they're like, all right, well, if you walk on this path with 5,000 gold, then everybody will jack you. So
Right, yeah.
you give us the money. We're going to write you this piece of paper via the Knights Templar. You take this to your destination. We will then give you 5,000 gold at the end, minus our Templar fees. Right? And that worked. That sort of was that was like the perfect like credit system, right?
Yeah.
That provided value. They're doing a service for you.
Right.
Right? Whereas gold, on the other hand, is it either looks cool, used in some wires, right?
Yeah.
But there's nothing else that it really does for the economy.
No. Well, and 2/3 of it is hanging off people in India. So,
No, well,
well, yeah. I mean, seriously. So, you know, so you're like building. I don't know. I guess it does have a little bit of a store of value that is kind of like universally respected.
it is, yeah.
You know,
Because aside for actual like money, it is the only other thing that
well, and that's just because we used it in the past. That's all.
I know.
Yeah. Other than that, it's just shiny rock. You know. Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, so much of this like doom and gloom that I've heard people over the years, especially like Peter Schiff fucking types and Dinesh D'Souza types, and you know, well, and your crypto fascists out there, you know, whatever they may be.
This goddamn word.
I don't even know what that is, man. I've heard people use it, but yeah, it's just basically people who just want to see, you know, the fucking dollar burn are all really gonna get disappointed over the next couple of years, man. So, you know, like everybody's like, oh my God, the inflation and stuff. Well, look at the international exchange rate. Okay, so that means all boats are rising in the flood, and we got the biggest fucking boat. You know?
No, this. I don't. Okay, so whether or not people will be disappointed, I don't know, right? Whether. Okay. So again, I hate to draw this to sports like all things do, but, you know, here's the thing is in football, they had to invent the zone defense because there was a guy that was too fast for man coverage, right?
Right.
It didn't mean that once that guy came in, the answer was, well, game's done.
Right,
Is,
yeah.
This is just how it is. Same thing with Wayne Gretzky. They had to change the way they goaltended
Right.
because of the way that he played. But afterward, it didn't mean that hockey was, like, done,
Right, as a sport, yeah.
right?
Yeah, it just had to change.
But it does mean that he has some insurmountable records. That doesn't mean that eventually there comes an equilibrium where you learn to live with the styles and the things that you come in with.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, got it. So there's a part of this where crypto is part of life.
It is.
Going to be part of life
Yeah.
from here on out. You will see big gains. You will see big losses, and that's.
I think some of that will happen maybe on the fringes with all the altcoins and stuff like that. I think this thing's actually killing quite a few of them off. Which is the one that went to zero the other day? There was one that actually got completely capitulated.
Oh, I can't remember what it was. I didn't have.
It had been around. Was it like Solano or something? It had been around.
Not Solano. It was. I can't remember who it was, but I did not have any money in it, so I did not like. I didn't look at my dog and I'm ruined. You know, so,
Actually, I haven't checked my crypto basket of currencies in a long time. I bet you it's fucked. So,
it's not what you wanted it to be. But
hey man, I got out of Cardano before all this bullshit happened.
Sure.
So thank God, man, because that stuff's like useless now. So,
Whether it will be
Um,
forever, I don't know. But
I don't know either, but like speculation, I think that there's safer bets to be made out there right now that probably have a better chance of payoff. Mainly oil.
I can't tell you. I can't.
Yeah.
There are certain things
I
that
don't think I'm gonna lose money off it. We'll put it that way. So, but I don't know, man. Like, I think that like the whole thing is that there's some people over the last like 10 years or so who just seen like the entire like Federal Reserve System and the United States government is completely and irreparably fucked when actually it's actually working pretty good. And it's just kind of like, all right, so eventually when the world doesn't burn down around you,
yeah.
when do you decide to go take a shower and go to work tomorrow? So
Yeah.
Yeah.
The this is the perspective that a lot of people don't want to take, right? And you know what? They're right, because there are certain indicators right now that, especially if you look at them compared to the way things were. Look, there's no way around it. Okay, you just saw this the other day. Gasoline in this state is the highest it's ever been.
What's it at? I haven't bought in a little while.
I had to buy the other day. I spent a lot, but
is it over $5?
It's hovering around $5.
Okay.
So I only know this because I read a little report on it the other day. It says the highest it's ever been.
Probably like $10 in California.
No, that's it. And if you're going to ask me straightforward, if families are feeling the pinch on this, then you're absolutely right.
Probably.
Okay?
Yeah.
So I can't tap dance around any others. It's like, well, look at wages. Like, yeah, that's not everybody.
No, it's not everybody.
It's like, look, the people that aren't getting wages increases, but the gas is going up, yeah, they're getting like slaughtered, right?
Yeah.
So there are some indicators that say this is fucked up. The question, of course, this is something that goes into perspective, is you talked about that flood. You talked about the size and durability of our boat, the United States, right? The question is, are we ceding any power or losing any influence or anything like that around the globe? Or are we all kind of losing and, kind of hitting the sine wave here? It's like, well, it seems to me that we're not losing any power.
Yeah.
Some of the nations that thought they were tough shit are actually losing power. So the people that people used to talk about, like, if I were to go back to, say, I don't know, not necessarily last election cycle, but the one before, where they were like, Russia is this giant boogeyman. It's like, well, you think so, huh?
Yeah.
Now that I've seen them actually like flex nuts, it's like they're not beating their next door drivable neighbor.
Drivable neighbor. Right, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't think they're losing just quite yet.
Oh, they definitely. Russia?
Yeah, I don't know about that, man.
Of course they're losing. They're losing huge because right now,
Are they? Well, I mean, like, okay, so maybe in the eyes of like everybody like us, we look at them and say, "Oh, look at it! You should have stomped them guys out in 3 weeks, and you haven't done that." So that sense of losing, yes, but like actually getting pushed back out of the Ukraine, I don't think that's actually happening. I think.
Oh, well, okay, but
I mean, is it? I haven't. Like, sorry, man, it's gone like 4 or 5 pages deep in my fucking newsfeed now, so I don't even know.
Yeah, I know. It's Pride Month, Patrick. Ukraine, forget about it. No, the fact of the matter is, okay, yes, they're mounting another offensive. It looks like they're
The Russians are?
Yes.
Okay.
The problem here is, what did you spend to get it, and what is it costing you?
Oh, obviously they've spent like probably 10 times what they thought, 100 times what they thought they were going to.
And the question is, what does it cost you? And it's not just what you've spent. It's
right,
also
yeah.
the fact that as of right now, you've got a lot of people like, no, I'm not doing business with you.
Yeah, I know. And I mean, like, as long as Putin remains in power, the Russian standing in the world is going to be dog shit. You know, I mean, basically, they're going to look at it and say, like, man, I bet you North Korea could take you guys right now.
So, and so, yeah, if you're asking me,
yeah.
have they lost? Yes, they've lost. They
Yeah, but I don't know if they're actually going to lose that war. So that's the thing that I'm a little bit concerned about, because what they've been doing lately is just basically red arming every city that they come to, which basically means it's like, okay, we're going to paint up to wherever we want to stop.
Yeah.
All right. And, you know, we have no intention of actually, like, you know,
we'll be here.
well, I mean, yeah, but there won't be people there.
Right.
So, you know, it'll just be like dudes and tanks,
Yeah.
dudes on a map,
Yeah.
right there, you know, because, like, I mean, you've seen some of the, like, pictures of some of these cities. They're fucking scraped down to the sidewalks, man.
They are.
So, you know, and it's like, okay, well, obviously you guys aren't gonna have the money to rebuild that. So everybody's bolted out of that area, you know. So, you know, many of them permanently over to Poland now at this point in time. So
No, absolutely. Look, so what I'll say here is can I make an accurate prediction on this right now? No, because
Yeah.
the logic on it has gone out the window.
the logic is kind of weird, man.
Okay? Because if you look at this, if somebody brought here Putin a fucking spreadsheet and said, like, these are numbers, asshole. Okay.
I think you'd shoot him, man. I don't
Be
know.
like, I'm familiar with these, yes.
Right, yes.
It's like, yes, these are minuses, dickhead. Right? You're not
That's
winning
what
this
red
thing.
means.
This is let me put it to you this way, okay? We had McDonald's in the Soviet Union,
Right.
okay? McDonald's is now gone from Russia.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're talking about who's losing the game, this is the huge shit when it comes to you have lost business with the United States.
Yeah, no, I don't think they're going to get that back for a generation.
You have lost.
Well, I mean, it would change if the ownership structure changed. So,
So yes, if
yeah.
Russia, well, it depends on the. You cannot just. You have to actually change management. You cannot put up the sign that says under new management.
Under new management, yeah,
Okay,
you
the
actually have to
burritos
change
still
management.
suck, right? It's not,
yeah, the burritos here are still bad.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So, yeah, I don't know though, man. We'll have to see. I mean, but like, just in terms of like the markets and stuff, I think it's kind of settled down a little bit with some of
Yeah.
some of the weirdness that was going on with that there for a little bit. And then, yeah, I think you're right. I mean, if you look at it, all right, so they were a big bad. They're obviously a paper tiger. Well, except for the nuclear warheads, you know, that's a thing. So, but, you know,
they can't use those.
they can't use those and survive. So, yeah. And then the same thing's true with the Chinese now. So, you know, so they were easily the big bad.
Yep.
For a while, and I mean, I run into people all the time when it comes up. They're, oh my god, you know, but it's not about like, you know, actually understanding what's going on. It's just finding a stick to like hit the Democrats with or whatever, or the Republicans. Yeah, it's like, oh well, look at the fucking country. You know, China's gonna like have flying cars in 3 years and blah blah blah. It's like that. None of that is fucking true. Okay, so you're just doing that because you don't like Joe Brandon, you know, or whatever, you know, so, or the Orange Menace. So, yeah, and it's just like, okay, fine, you know, you're obviously not serious about this in a certain respect because you have some kind of domestic axe to grind and that actually helps your argument. So,
yes, it is. It is a bipartisan political cudgel.
It is.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
That is their entire purpose in politics right now, because their actual stretch of power is, as far as I'm concerned, I don't want to say irrelevant. It counts.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it is not the major player that we think it is. And to tell you the truth, I think a lot of this is coming out in the wash right now, where you have these idiots and they're testing the rocks for COVID. And
Right.
when it comes down to it, they shut down their two biggest cities, right?
Yeah.
And what has that done? Has it shut down our economy?
Nope.
No. Has it wreaked mayhem on theirs?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, it absolutely.
Yeah, and that is a lot of the inflation that's going on too. So, um, we'll see. So now that Shanghai is somewhat open again,
Right.
it'll still take months.
It'll still take months.
It'll take
And
months.
under their own stupid system, they have to be like, well, somebody caught it, shut it down.
Yeah, shut down the block. Yeah, no. So it's just gonna happen again, man. There's gonna be another variant. So there's gonna be another variant. I mean, there's been a variant going on here in the United States for like the last 2 months. Okay.
A lot of people have caught it.
Yeah, and everybody's like, it's okay, So like, like the amount of immunity, like collective immunity that's built up at this point in time, not just through vaccines, but also through people who got the multiple variants before and shit like that. It's like basically, okay, it's like this gnarly flu that kills old people. So, but we actually have this really cool pill now that really helps with that.
Right.
So, yeah, my mom took it for 3 days and she sounded fine after her fourth. And so,
I would say
it was pretty fucking amazing.
Yeah, I would say that she's up there with the most vulnerable when it comes to.
She is absolutely the most vulnerable. You talk about someone who's old, all right, has just about every physical ailment, just had a fucking surgery. She's a cancer survivor. She takes about 9 different pills. So.
So this is yeah.
Her diet consists of Eggo waffles.
Right. So when you go to the COVID war and the actual virus is like planning things out, and they say like we're
gonna get all of them. Yeah,
they're weak right now. We can destroy them. And your mother, I don't want to say she skipped it off, but she.
Well, she sounded pretty rough for a couple days, but like as soon as she got it, she got tested. And like that afternoon, her doctor called and said, I need you to go get these pills. So, or go send somebody to get them for you. So.
Did you find a local Walgreens?
Oh, yes. Oh, I drove by 2 to get to hers.
Okay. So does this mean that we can actually take like COVID survivor out of our Twitter bios?
I think we can take COVID survivor out of our Twitter
there you
bios.
go.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
and we are getting to the point where they're optional. Nobody will stop you, but we are getting to the point where, like, you do see the odd fellow, at the gas station with a mask still on. It's like, is that guy fucking retarded? Like, is he?
Okay. To be fair, all right. So my buddy Jared at the bar, his kid's in ICU, and so he's wearing a mask.
Yeah. I understand that.
Right, yeah. So he's not retarded.
No. But the guys that are still wearing them because, like, believe the science.
I don't know anybody who
Trust
does that. Yeah.
Oh, no. Because a lot of us live here.
Right, yeah. I maybe, like, if you're walking around, like, I don't know, downtown San Francisco, you might see that. Or something, but like here it's at the point in time, if I see someone with a mask, I assume there's something else going on with that person.
Which is what people should have thought the first time.
Well, absolutely.
Around.
When my wife had cancer, even before COVID, she wore a mask to Costco. And everybody's like, oh, okay, nobody's going to give you shit about that. It's like, obviously you got something, and so no worries. And so when I see people wearing masks now, I feel kind of the same way. I don't see people walking around with like N95 stapled to their faces like they were like a year and a half ago.
They still pop up time to time.
Okay, well, I haven't seen one. So, but
you will still occasionally see people wearing them in their cars.
Really, I haven't seen that. No.
It's rare.
Yeah, no, I don't think that'll be a thing in like 3 months, man. I can't imagine somebody hanging on to it that bad. I mean, unless it's like someone who's like directly related to somebody who got murdered by it, then I can give you some points for being gun shy. So,
I guess, but
I don't know. It didn't happen to me, so.
No, it didn't. And you know what? It didn't happen to a lot of people.
No.
That's the trick. This is they tried to look. I'm still a little bit upset that every day the New York Times is still trying to prepare you to say like, yeah, we're not out of the woods yet. Have you guys heard about this monkeypox thing?
Oh yeah, the monkeypox.
It's like,
well, even the CDC came out and said, "Don't worry about that."
No, of course not.
Yeah,
no. But every day they're just kind of like,
trust me, if you got monkeypox, other people ain't gonna come around you anyway, man.
Yeah, that problem solves itself. It's like, you got monkeypox? Yeah, it's like, stay the fuck home. don't look at me.
Yeah, exactly. Don't you
Don't
dare go
talk to
near
me.
a public restroom, man.
And then a number of accusations come out afterwards, like, where were you?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, what gay bathhouse were you having sex in? It's like, dude, no. Hey. Like, sorry, man. It's monkeypox, right?
Yeah.
You know, so that kind of solves itself. But yeah, hey, all right. I gotta switch gears here. For a
Yeah,
second.
all right. Let's segue away from all the depressing shit.
Because I got in trouble on a job, minor trouble.
On a job?
Yeah.
Okay.
So what's your take on this? Okay. One of the rules about, you know, when I'm like transcribing a job.
Okay, so this wasn't a tutoring job.
No.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, even there I'd be like, well, that's your problem, right?
Right.
You know what you got when you hired me. One of the rules is, because in some programs you're not going to know every speaker. Okay?
Right.
All right. A lot of them will be labeled, a lot of them will come up contextually in the program, right? And if you don't have a cast list sometimes, you have to label somebody, right?
Uh-huh.
Now, what would be your way of labeling people that are speaking but you don't know the names of? How would you label that speaker, typically?
I guess I would probably do it in some kind of systematic way.
Gotcha.
So yeah, like Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, something. I
Oh,
don't
well,
know.
here's the thing is you have to identify this person, right?
Yeah.
By the way that you describe them.
So you have to use descriptors?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So like middle-aged man.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now,
British guy. British male 1. There
Okay,
we go.
okay.
Yeah.
now, what are the kind of descriptors that you think are off limits?
Gay.
Go on.
Well, yeah, he sounds gay. So
Right. So you
if
would
he's got that lisp or that tilt, what is it that you hate?
the lilt.
The
Yeah.
lilt. If they got the lilt in there, yeah, I wouldn't say gay guy 1.
Okay.
So
All right. So if
yeah, black guy, super black guy. So I wouldn't do anything like that.
All right.
man.
Now here's the thing: is most of the time what you do is you drop a descriptor on somebody. Hopefully they're gonna pop in at some point, right? Because you have to know who they are,
Yeah.
right? As you do this, and it also snaps a picture that you can change at that point, right? But sometimes you won't get that info.
Okay.
Okay. And you're right. You can't just be like, gay man,
Right. Yeah.
right? What about black?
Huh?
What about black?
I'd be very careful about that. Unless it was like a show where it was obvious, like they actually said something. Like that kid's like, "Oh, you're black." Yeah, I'm black. Okay, black guy number 1. There we go. You know. But if it's just going off his accent, I would absolutely stay the fuck
Oh, well,
away
you
from
can
that.
see you can see what they look like.
Oh, you can actually see the shit?
Yes, but you also have to give a descriptor so that if somebody is just looking at the transcript, right?
Yeah, but you said they get a picture then.
Correct. So you have to have it for both ways. You
Yeah,
have to be
okay.
able to look at it visually, and
Yeah.
you have to have a transcript version.
Then I don't see a problem with saying black guy number 1. So, or I would say something like, when did he first appear? So, and then just timestamp him. So,
Well, and you still have to give them a descriptor.
I understand that, but
Okay.
you could do a timestamp when he started in the thing.
Okay.
So,
Okay. So here's what I got in trouble for. And again, it was just minor trouble.
yeah.
All right? This wasn't even like a real like slap on the wrist. It was just kind of like, be careful with this.
Right.
Right? All right. Because what I need to know is if there is a difference. Because there was a guy,
Mhm.
okay? He was a black guy,
Okay.
okay? And he was a cool guy,
Okay.
right?
You say cool black guy?
I said cool black guy. And the reason I did this...
Yeah, okay. I can see
No,
why they got
hold
mad.
on.
Yeah,
hold
yeah.
on. Because this is my question here, is... What do you think of when you think of cool black guy?
The Simpsons joke with how he like actually rolls around in a car.
And my question is, how does that differ from when you think of cool white guy? No, he's not a cool white guy.
Oh, right. He's a dorky white guy.
Here's my question. When you think of a cool white guy, what are the differences that you would see?
It's like Fonzie. Yeah.
Okay. And what would be your impression then
Hey.
versus a cool black guy? What comes to mind?
I don't know, man. I don't know where you're going with this.
Well,
So,
it's not a question of where I'm going. It's a question of what sort of things like, oh, he's a cool
Blade,
black guy.
I guess. I don't know.
Well,
So,
no, well, I mean, like, when I say cool, it's like, well, what's his attitude like? Is he just like, he's a cool guy?
yeah, he's
right?
just chill.
But would you generally describe a cool black guy as different than a cool white guy?
No.
You don't think so?
No, not really, man.
It wouldn't come just like in different ways. Like you said, you picture like a Fonzie type guy, which is a different kind of cool than, say, like, I don't know, Ice Cube or something like that.
I suppose, but I mean, like, I don't know, man. You could use different descriptors for that. Like, if you're thinking like Ice Cube, I'd say like urban, you know. So
That's a dog whistle.
yeah, I know, of course it is.
That's
So,
100% a dog.
but you know, that's where you're trying to lead me with
No,
something.
I'm not
like
trying
this.
to lead you anywhere.
Oh, okay.
I'm not trying to trap you, dog. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get like, would you have if you somebody described to you as like he's a cool black guy, would you think of it in a different way than a cool white guy? Are they cool in different ways?
I don't really think so. It's just a guy that is actually cool. So someone you could talk to and somebody who, you know, I don't know. I don't even understand what cool really means. I guess. So, and I'm not trying to just like retreat to the middle on this either.
I understand.
Yeah, but I don't really. Yeah, when you say the cool guy, so it's in relation to the other
Right.
people around us. So if there's a guy who's a
Exactly.
dick, you know, so then it's pretty easy. So it's like, well, there's a cool guy and there was the asshole guy, you know. So
Okay, so let me take race out of it. What does it mean to be cool?
well, you're just
When I say that-
easygoing.
Okay.
You're easygoing. You're mellow. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so easygoing is the common ground. But my question is, does easygoing from if you're trying to give a descriptor to somebody, right? Does it manifest in a different kind of seeming way if you're a black guy versus a white guy? Easygoing, does it feel different? When you picture an easygoing white guy, do you see something differently than you would an easygoing black guy?
No. No, I'm thinking back specifically to people that I know
Okay.
who were cool and who fit those racial categories. No,
Uh-huh.
they were yeah, they're almost indistinguishable
They're
in terms of
exactly
their
the same.
behavior. Well, I want to say they're exactly the same,
Well, no.
but I would definitely say that like in terms of demeanor and in terms of approachability and in terms of like, you know, just their overall attitude towards anything, yeah, they're pretty fucking similar. So
Okay, see, I guess that's a perception thing because I guess the whole thing is like if I take cool as a general descriptor and I put like that on like a if I'm gonna slap cool on a white guy,
Mhm.
right? And I'm gonna give them that horrible moniker and this is like cool white guy, right? There is a perception of this that I have that it's not like bad or wrong or different or anything, but there is a version of that I see where like the coolness does not manifest itself the same way. There's like I always assume that there's like a bit of like easygoingness that comes with humor.
Mhm.
Right? And for whatever reason, when I say like cool white guy, I just don't see them as funny as the cool black guy.
So you're doing that on a humor kind of like so you see a cool black guy as being funny and a cool white guy as being mellow.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And that's what I'm saying is when I did that, okay, and again, this was not something where I'm saying like I'm trying to take this in a negative way. It's just like this person fits what I think, especially when you present it in things like media, most people would see as, oh, I'm going to cast a cool black guy,
Mm-hmm.
right? Versus if you were going to, like, say, for example, all right, if you cast Matthew McConaughey as a cool white guy, it's not the same. He's not a funny guy. He's not a funny guy, right?
No.
But he's got a certain mellowness to him that is endemic of, right? When you say like, oh,
yeah, but so is Wesley
easygoing.
Snipes. So, you know, I mean, he's not a funny guy.
He's a. What are you talking about?
Wesley Snipes?
Yeah,
When was he funny?
with Major League.
Okay. Was he the funniest guy in that movie?
Well, it was a comedy.
Yeah. Okay, so okay. I didn't even remember that he was in fucking Major League. So
Maybe because he's playing something opposite of what you
right, yeah,
expect
he
out of
went to go
Wesley
do
Snipes.
something
I mean,
else a little bit later on.
Sure,
Yeah, so
sure.
I guess I guess I can kind of see it, but I wouldn't see that there's just something endemic about being black that's funnier than being white. So
Well, no. What I'm saying is that you're not. It's not a funnier thing. It's just a question of what do you picture when you see a cool person? Is it different sometimes by race?
I guess so. I mean, like you'd have to do a test case on that one. So what does it mean to be a cool Asian guy? Can you think of anybody who's funny?
Yeah,
Who?
like Ken Jeong or
Okay. Bobby Lee, maybe.
sure, yeah, or the what's his name, the fellow from Harold and Kumar, John Cho, right?
Okay. But are those the cool Asian guys?
I would say generally yes,
Okay.
because they buck a certain stereotype of being uptight.
Right. Yeah, I don't know, man. I guess you could look at it through that lens. See, I don't know, man. I mean, there's a thing about black guys who are cool and then black guys who are funny. There's like a difference there too, I guess. And I wouldn't see them as like having a natural, like 100% overlap.
I suppose not.
Yeah, and so
I
maybe I'm
suppose
just
not.
like thinking, like when someone says, "Oh, that guy's really cool," I just have different examples in my mind, you know?
Well, the problem here is that yes, funny is. Look, people can be funny by being uptight. People can be funny by being
Sure.
like completely spastic or
Goofy.
angry.
Yeah.
Right? Angry can be super funny, but that guy's not cool.
Yeah, spastic. Yeah.
Or manic, yeah.
Manic, yeah. So I was just thinking of Chris Tucker. I wouldn't think he was cool, but he is funny. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, because I mean
He's annoying. Which is distinctly not cool, but he is funny as shit. So
that's a good point. Yeah. And yeah, that's sort of
I don't know,
sort of the thing there is there's a that's why when I came into it, it was like, because if I flipped it around and I say like this is a funny black guy, right? What the hell does that mean?
yeah.
What is your, when you read that on the sheet, what do you draw from that as your image of like, oh, what do you see?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's kind of a spectrum there, man. So, but because it goes all the way from like, I don't know. I guess you could put Dave Chappelle on one end of that, and then Wayne Brady all the way on the other end of the spectrum.
That's the
Two
line. That's
very
the,
different kind of like
Okay.
funny. Yeah. So, and I guess Will Smith would be somewhere there in the middle, although that's not really worked out lately.
I would argue that at one point he would have had that.
Yeah.
He would have been the king of that, but then when you slap another man on TV
Right.
and
Yeah.
start bellowing, you sort of lose. See, I couldn't call him a cool black guy.
I don't know if he's ever really fit that mold. He's tried several times.
Yes.
I mean, so there's like a period in his career, like the first MIB and a couple after that, where he
Absolutely.
was, yeah. But then, like by the time he got to that one where he's in New York City with the zombies, was like,
oh,
you're not
I Am
cool.
Legend.
You're brooding now. That's different. So I don't know.
No.
You're
All
kind
right.
of mopey. So
I get, and that's a very specific role, and I understand
sure, yeah.
that.
But he had a couple of those like that, like Bagger Vance and things like that. That were along
Pursuit of
there.
Happiness and
Pursuit of Happiness. Yeah.
Concussion, or I think
I never saw that one.
It was weak, but
Our lawyer friend pointed out the movie
what?
with Bruce Willis
What?
and the New York City lock. It was The Siege. So
I've seen that.
yeah,
that's right.
I had totally forgotten.
It's so goddamn forgettable.
So bad, man. Yeah. So, but it was just interesting because it was actually like 2 years before 9/11. So, and then 3 years before we were waterboarding people in Gitmo. So, all right. So, what was the resolution on this? What happened? You just get your hand slapped a little bit?
No, it wasn't even that. It was
Just
just
said be careful with that.
It's
So
just
they give you a
blocked out.
suggestion about what to say next time.
not really.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know, man. What? So. Yeah, I don't. What? Why be careful with that though? I mean, that seems like so benign. Like if I said urban black guy.
That's what I'm saying. Is
Yeah,
that
I mean, that one maybe.
I would argue that comes across as far more.
Well, I didn't say hood, so.
It doesn't matter.
Right, I know, but that's what I'm insinuating, I guess. So you say cool black guy.
Because look, if I were to say like urban black guy, right? The distinction here is it goes from it goes to Compton and it goes to
Sure, yeah, Watts. Yeah.
the most hipster part of Brooklyn. So like what version of this is this the kind of like is he gun toting or is he
Has he got a gat?
does he or is he sitting there saying like, so I opened up my third wine bar.
Right, yeah.
Right?
So,
Like,
I would like to talk
What do you
about
mean
my,
by urban?
yeah, my 401k.
No, that's not even urban. You're talking like urban in that context would be like straight up like hipster. This would be
Right.
like he's wearing a bow tie, right?
Right,
He's-
yeah.
Right, and wearing
Yeah.
like horn rimmed glasses or something.
Yeah, he's
like
got those rolled up jeans too.
Yeah,
That I can't stand. Yeah. Okay.
that. Urban.
Right, yeah. Well, I guess I would think of it as an accent, so I don't know.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, I
Right.
was thinking of it like an accent. So, yeah, I don't know what to tell you though, man. I mean,
Like cool seems as benign as it possibly gets.
it's like the definition of the most benign, like kind of like trait you could assign this because there's no malice in it whatsoever.
Right.
So, because I mean, if you said like benign, even that word, it'd be like, well, that guy's dull, and
Right.
so yeah,
Harmless.
yeah, useless, as an extension. So kind of thing. But when you just say, well, no, that guy's a cool guy, okay, nobody's like, well, what the fuck does that mean,
Right, because this guy appeared for exactly one scene
Mhm.
and he was making a joke with his friend.
Okay.
He was unnamed.
Yeah, I don't know.
So I would describe him because he didn't have like a mean mug on. He was just like, oh, it's a
Yeah.
cool black guy.
Right? Yeah.
Whereas if I were to say like, well, he's a cool white guy,
Was it because you used the word black?
that was it.
Okay, all right, that makes sense. So, there are segments of the country where and especially overseas, you're not supposed to use that handle. So, now coming from every black person that I know,
Right.
okay, there are other things that are much, much worse that people use. So, including the African American moniker. So I have had many people come back and tell me it's like, I got nothing to do with Africa, man. I'm more American than you are. My family's been here for 9 fucking generations.
Voluntarily, I don't know.
Right, yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, I've heard that one a couple different times. And so
Like I haven't.
I've had students straighten me out on that one. So
No, I understand. And look, I haven't crossed that boundary where I've had to try and dump in and say like, interesting Latin X guy, right?
I have never had someone who, I mean, we're talking about a huge different number of groups of people who get lumped under that. The only person who's ever told me to use that was someone who was ridiculously over academically qualified and obviously so goddamn woke. And all my other students, and I'm going to tell you, like, half of my students fall into this category. They hate it. So it's like, no, man, I'm Mexican, I'm Chicano, or I'm Puerto Rican, or I'm Venezuelan, or I'm Guatemalan, you know, so, or Colombian. So, you know, it's almost always by country or by like a large group. Like Chicano is distinctly northern, you know, so, you know, it's completely different, man. I've had so many students, you know, over the years. I ask them that too. It's like, what do you think of this? And nobody fucking likes it, man.
Now, look, I know that you're supposed to pronounce it Latinx and stuff like that, and of course it is. I don't see it as that. I see it as, you know, the 10th installment in the Friday the 13th franchise, Jason X. So I always say it as Latin X.
Latin X.
But yeah, that has been my observation, you know, especially with, God, I have like Venezuelans, I have like Brazilians, you know, and things like that. And the one thing that they've had in common is like, don't call me Venezuelan. I'm
right.
Brazil. Don't call me.
Right. Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. Oh no. So, especially when you get in Central America, where all the countries kind of, oh no, I'm Costa Rican, you know. So yeah.
Is there?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'm Panamanian. So, like, and some of the students who are like the most insistent are like folks from Honduras. It's like, well, there's bigger countries on either side. No. I'm Honduran. You know, it's like, got it.
You know, okay. Tell you what, here's another one. All right, because this was another student generated question.
Okay.
Okay, and I want you to try and answer this in a simple way, because I found myself not being able to answer this simply. She asked, and this was a Brazilian person. She asked, why does the United States not like Cuba?
Oh.
What would be the simplest way to answer it without glossing over the heart of the matter?
They don't like us.
I said something similar.
Yeah. So
I was like, well, there's a specific ideological, you know, difference between the two of them. And if you want to talk about specific incidents, like, nobody's hands are clean when it comes to incursions against one another.
yeah.
But I tried to paint it out that way.
See, the thing that's different, and
It's hard with Cuba.
well, Cuba's not hard, but if you come at it from, all right, so here's something that I've noticed with almost virtually all of my foreign students. Okay. Some not quite as much as others. Okay. And we can get into that a little bit, but just about anybody from South America, Central America, anybody from Asia, anybody from India, all my Middle Eastern students, some of the Europeans, not all of them, but some, they don't see, they have a really hard time understanding the fact that, like, Americans really don't hate anybody. There are governments we fucking hate. So,
Yeah.
you know, and so, like, when they say, well, why do people hate Cubans? It's like, well, nobody here hates fucking Cubans.
Right.
So it's
Right.
like, it's these guys, you know, who do this bullshit. All right. And, you know, like,
It's Castro and everything.
yeah, it's Castro and like
Castro adjacent.
Castro adjacent, and, you know, the fact that you guys, like, you don't vote for
Secret
these
police,
dudes,
yes.
you know, and all this shit.
Yeah.
And, you know, like, yeah, you know, like, blast our embassy with sound waves and shit. It was like, we know the Cubans aren't doing that, but the Cuban government's doing that.
Right.
So,
Right.
and so, like, I've had such a hard time with some of the students over the past who just don't see a difference between those two things. You know, and it's like, well, why do all Americans hate Mexicans? It's like, I don't know very many Americans who hate Mexicans at all. Okay? You know what Americans hate? Fucking cartels. So, you know?
There's that. It's also like, we don't like corrupt governments. We don't like governments that don't take action against the cartels. We don't
Yep.
we don't like governments where, like, you get pulled over and you just bribe the guy. right?
Yeah, that's bullshit. We all hate that.
Yeah.
We don't like people who don't play by the fucking rules. And so when they call us out and say, well, you guys don't play by the rules either, that's absolutely true. And nobody hates the government here more than fucking Americans. God damn, I have such a hard time defending the government on certain things, man. Where it's like, actually, you know what? It works pretty fucking good most of the time. And it's like, if you want to start a fight in any bar in America, just go out there and say, you know what? I didn't have a problem paying my taxes today. So,
Take it a step further and say, like, you know, and on top of that,
but
they won't stop you if you want to send them a little extra.
yeah, no, they don't have a problem with that. Actually, no, they'll send it back to you. So,
Don't forget to tip your IRS.
yeah,
No, it's
no, they'll send it back to you.
I mean,
No government in the fucking world would do that except for ours.
because they're like, oh shit, we can get in trouble.
Yeah, exactly.
You know why?
So, yeah.
Because the citizens can sue us.
Right, yeah, exactly. So, but you try that in any other country in the world, with maybe the exception of like maybe England or Germany or some shit.
In England, they'd be like, are you fucking crazy?
No, I know that, but if you actually sent the IRS, your local tax collector, $10 extra, this is one of the few countries on the face of the fucking planet where they're going to send it back to you.
I think Britain has a strong tradition of finders keepers. So like if you yeah, no, this is the weird thing. This is again with look, we talked about this. We talked about I do not want to go back into like guns. We talked about guns ad nauseum and how it goes nowhere. But when you're talking about do the American people hate the American government? It's like you're supposed to and you're supposed to not. That's the weird thing.
Yeah, it's weird.
When you look at the Constitution, parts 1 and 2. All right, number 1, you can say anything you want. Yeah. Number 2, you have to be able to have guns. There's this thing where it's like, even the founders were like, we are the government, dude.
Yeah, we're going to be the government, man. This is going to be bad.
And, you know, they're like, they got to be like, so what do we do if Washington runs amok, you dick? And he's like, good question. You need to be able to shoot me.
Right. Yeah. You should speak up before you do so.
Right. So you have to give me a chance.
Yeah. And if I ask you that you have a gun, you don't have to say whether or not you want to shoot me. You don't have to say yes.
So, you got to give me a chance. And that
you got to give me a chance.
You got to give me a chance. And that includes like gathering and like petitioning, right? Now, if I don't, right? So if the whole thing is like, we want food, and I say, go suck rocks, there has to be some kind. Okay, then you sign a petition for food. Then I have to look at this. Then I have to sign this name, eat a bag of dicks.
Right, yeah.
George Washington. Right? Then you move on to part number 2. It's like, how long has it been since you haven't been fed? 3 months? Okay. Get your guns.
Everybody get your guns.
Right?
In the town commons.
So there has to be an inherent, like, think about shit that wouldn't fly in China. This is like, seriously, if the second part of this is, was your government doing right? No. Well, the second, amendment of this is you should all be armed in case they're not.
Yeah.
Are you crazy?
Yeah, are you crazy? The police would overthrow that shit in 10 minutes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So I'm not trying to sit there and say, look, the debate over gun control has to exist. It's going to exist.
Yeah.
And I'm not endorsing or saying like, all right, do we need to reevaluate like the weird things, the weird. My question, Patrick, I mean, you're far more an expert in this, right? Are there certain bits of legislation in there that are completely missing the point of what they were intending to do?
Oh, I guarantee it, man.
You know?
So, I mean, bad legislation it's a feature, not a bug. And that's why you have to like challenge it and tear it out every now and then, man. So that happens all the time, man. In fact, spring court season's coming up here in a week. So
Look how you talk about it.
Yeah.
Like it's spring training.
yeah,
like
get your
it's,
popcorn, man. So
like there's a cactus league of like
Yeah.
Supreme Court.
there is a Cactus League. So yeah. And so next week's playoffs, and then at that point in time, it's like, all right, so give me my scorecard and let's see how this goes, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's just like an element to it that, that debate's already petering out. Speaking of Matthew McConaughey, he was up there the other day.
He was.
Did you listen to his speech?
Yeah.
I did not.
Yeah. It was.
I'm not a big fan of that guy.
He seems like a cool guy.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. There's just something about him that just seems like, I don't know.
Bro, but I put him in the same spot as, like, I've made this point before. It's like, you're not, I don't give a fuck about what any actor has to say
Right.
about political issues. You have absolutely zero perspective about the trials facing anything remotely related to normal in this country. Okay?
Yeah.
Even if I were to take the most like Warren Buffett type actor on the planet, where it's like, I have all this money, yeah, it's like, but I live in this house with like 5 cans of Hormel chili. Right?
Yeah, you're still not really buying what's being sold, no.
Right, because
Yeah.
the whole the turnaround on this is, well, if you wanted to,
Yeah.
could you buy a house with like 10 pools?
Yeah.
It's like, well, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Could you buy
then-
a small state? Yeah.
Then no, you
Yeah,
don't
no.
have. So the outside perspective of this, I could not give a fuck. I don't care about what any actor or actress has to say about. We should talk about it. Shit. Most politicians, I don't put on that
No.
platform.
No.
Right? I don't.
I mean, at least there you do have a chance. So,
Agree.
yeah, at least there you do have a chance.
Yes.
There are some guys who make it into Congress or whatever, and they've gone through some shit.
Yeah.
So.
I'm just
Well, and I mean, a lot of actors have too, but like when you get to the stage where you're at, like with Matthew McConaughey, man, that was ages ago.
Yeah.
Your Hormel chili days, your beans and rice days are long over.
Exactly.
And yeah, there is a point in time where if you don't have to worry about where, maybe not next month's paycheck comes from, but like, am I good for the year kind of thing.
Right.
Once you get past the point in time where you don't have to worry about that anymore, it does kind of distort your perception. So
Absolutely. And so, it's not that he went out there and said anything like completely radical. A lot of it was just saying that we have a problem.
Sure.
Right. But it was like, maybe we need to look at some laws, but we can't, completely overwrite this. I'm like, great. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah. So, what did you add to the debate?
And that's fine if he wants to
completely
say that.
pathos here, yeah. So,
But it's a question of taking into consideration why anybody would give this credence, right?
yeah,
These are not the people you should look. We've talked about this before. Politics means a hell of a lot more at the local level.
oh yeah,
If your role model is not somebody close to you or within your community, you're fucking up. If
yeah, that's a good way to think about it, man.
your role model should be somebody that you can emulate instead of looking at what has been prepared.
Yeah,
Look,
should be somebody you could go fucking talk to. So for crying out loud,
exactly,
yeah.
yes. There's a part of it where it's like, how did you get into the scrap iron business? Scrap iron Dan?
Yeah, scrap
And-
iron, Dad.
It's like, well, I wasn't always scrap iron Dan.
Right, yeah.
I used to be dishwasher Dan.
Right.
It's like, you want to know how I became scrap iron?
Yeah, I'll tell you all about it. Yeah.
So, the way this business works is there was a scrap iron Steve. He's dead.
He's dead.
You know who killed him?
Not me.
Dishwasher Dan. He became. Anyways, I don't know.
It's been in a whole story here, man. Yeah.
Look, I don't
Just
know.
murder your way to the top.
I don't know how business works, Patrick. I don't know if it's still, when I talk about the theory of like changing football so that you take the Lombardi, I don't know if you kill Scrap Iron Dan, you
Right.
become Scrap Iron Dan.
Yeah, or have the constitutional arbiter. So, yeah.
Have we talked about?
I don't think we've actually gone over that at some point in time. We actually settle constitutional disputes by duel.
Well, who do you duel? You remember this, right?
The constitutional arbiter. So,
Well, he was the constitutional defender. Yeah.
yeah, right. You have to shoot him.
God, I don't remember the full rules.
I
on
don't
this,
remember
but,
either, man. He was pretty barbaric.
well, sort of. It was cool in sort of like an alternate Earth setting, right? Where in order for that to work, you'd have to pick out something that happened in American history and it went wrong.
Right.
So if you're talking about a time traveler from 2050 goes back, steps on this snail, and then suddenly things are similar, but you have a constitutional
Go smash all the things. I'll step on whatever I want.
Like, I don't know. Like when you sit there and say like, "Oh, I'm gonna do good," so somebody goes in the past and like kills Ted Kaczynski, and then in modern times you come back, it's like, "Oh my God, you solve problems with constitutional duels." I don't know. It's just I don't know. Or you just, it's like, I'm gonna go back and stop Waco, and then this is where we are. Right? It says something went wrong, so it's similar enough, but there's still problems. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember what it took to actually get something there. Actually, speaking of other bullshit that you and I came up with in the past. All right, so someday we're gonna have to rehash out the entire constitutional duelist.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
The other thing will be Jeff's like fucking Premier League NFL rules. But the last thing, and this is something I actually fucking saw the other day.
Yeah.
Did you see this?
What?
So there's a guy out there writing a book, a comic book, on Fred and Barney.
Oh, I've seen this. Yeah.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Were there fucking war veterans?
Yeah. Actually, it was very interesting.
Did you read it?
Yeah.
Really?
This was an old one.
Oh no,
this
was just
about,
like a month ago.
I read this about like 5 years ago. It was very similar.
I wonder if it's the same one. It might be.
Or they may be coming back to it. But yeah,
maybe they're coming back to it.
I don't know. But I did read that. And
Yeah,
it was an examination of, that was part of it. A lot of it had to do with juxtaposing modern problems in the Flintstone universe.
Oh, okay.
Where one of the
Were they dealing with inflation?
They weren't. They were. Well, say for one of the problems that they had was the way that they presented it against the classic thing was Fred and Wilma were seen as the outcast because they practiced monogamy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, things like that.
Oh, yeah. We would have never come up with that.
We would come up with it now because there's a normalization of, look, I came up with this little grumpy thing a while ago. This is, and you and I have talked about this. We've talked about how this is, as much as people don't want to sit there and say like, oh, there's no such thing as a horseshoe. Horseshoe theory is dumb. So, it's a straight line. It's like bullshit. Like, let me give you an example. Okay.
Okay.
This came up because I was doing a project that involved a guy in Utah, and they were asking him about
polygamy.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what I can say here is, in 1980, 1990, 2000,
sure,
polygamy was joked on about by, oh, this is something that far right Christians do because their God demands it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It is 2024, and the whole thing is, oh, I'm poly.
Oh, yeah, it's the same fucking thing.
I know,
yeah,
but that's the version of it that's hip and cool.
I know.
Right? And so it's like, no, it's not a horseshoe. It's a fucking circle. All right? And I get it. And I know you want to sit there and mock this side for doing it. It's okay.
God damn, man. Yeah, that's a thing that I will never understand. I have seen that particular practice ruin every relationship that it touches. So, and I mean, so being a lump on a bar stool and not actually interacting with other people, you actually learn a lot about other people. When you get to observe them for a while. I have seen people now engage in round robin relationships like this.
Yeah.
And I mean, you can almost like set an egg timer to when it's going to explode. And then somebody's not going to work there. Well, because it's just like fundamentally like somebody within that relationship, just like the Mormons, all right? And typically, so you know, like how this actually works. And if you watch, you had transcribe a show or something like that. So it's typically like 40, 50-year-old men, all right, who basically scrape off the 16-year-olds and then outcast all the other dudes, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And so, all right, obviously this is working out really well for somebody.
Really
And
badly
every
for-
poly relationship is the exact same way. So even if you have a three-way relationship going on there, there's one person who's okay with it, there's one person who loves it, and there's one person who feels really, really fucking put out. So every single time. So I have seen this, and this has not been a thing. Like in all the years that I've kind of like sat on a bar stool, this has only been a really big thing, maybe like the last 4 or 5. And it's just it's like I have seen it destroy relationships that should have been golden.
Mm-hmm.
So they should have absolutely been golden. And
Yeah.
it's just, it absolutely nuked it, man. And it's just one of those things where it's like, oh my gosh, you know, it's just because really when it comes down to it, someone's not willing to make a sacrifice. So someone in that is not willing to actually sacrifice and say, you know what, I'm actually going to take myself off the market permanently for you. Okay? And if you're in a relationship where someone's not willing to do that, you need to fucking get out of that relationship.
Well, okay. So this is
you move the fuck on.
and you know, and that's the other thing is if people are expressing interest in that, you can't fake your way into it.
Oh Lord, no.
The thing that I'll say on this, okay, is so are there cases where it works? Yes. Like
I'm skeptical, but sure.
well, and I'm going to point to examples like fucking Gene Simmons and stuff like that, where it's like we have an understanding.
I suppose, but as long as you're going into the relationship being very clear about that, you know, the conditions change over time. So,
Well, what you're talking about is you're talking about a relationship that has very little to do with regular relationships, where it's like, all right,
yeah.
your contingency upon being involved in this is the collection of all this kiss money. So
Right,
if
yeah.
you elect to, I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen this came out a while back, where, did you ever see the, essentially the contract that Einstein made his woman sign?
Oh, yeah. It's horrifying. So,
It absolutely is.
yeah. And he's on so many people's wall, man. It's just one of those things where it's like, okay, I get it, man. You know?
Look, and there are certain parts of it that they're absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
They're hilarious in concept, not in practice. Because there is one like contingency in there where it's like, you're not gonna touch my desk under any circumstance.
Right,
which
yeah.
means to me, okay, like he had his desk fucked with. He flipped his shit.
Oh, yeah,
you don't
yeah.
write it that specifically.
Right. He's really particular about it.
So
Yeah.
I get it. Okay, I don't excuse it. I don't anything like that. But when it comes to like polyamory, right? In ideal circumstances, this can work if, okay? And this is a huge if. And it sort of goes against the nature of all human nature is if you have a pair of people that are absolutely not possessive enough and zen enough to see the value of their personal connection in this way, but also have extramarital, you know, outside partners without any sense of jealousy or not just jealousy, but what do you call that?
Animosity. Yeah.
No, the thing where you possessiveness, right?
Yeah.
Even on the smallest level, if you have two people in that situation, then it can work. But my question is, how often have you met one of those people, let alone a second person, with that equal level of not possessiveness, but still want to be in a married relationship?
Yeah. See, I see it like it's like juggling chainsaws. You cannot do it forever. You know? So eventually, you know, like think about it. You can do it for 10 minutes without a problem. All right.
Right.
Can you do it for 6 hours without fucking it up? Probably not. So, you know.
Well, and the other question is, how many chainsaws can you juggle?
Exactly. And so, you know, I don't know, man. It's just it's one of those things that as I get older, the less I'm able to identify with the crowd out there that is trying to redefine what a relationship is. And it's like that's not going to fucking work out. The reason why, your grandmother gives you really good advice on things like relationships is because certain things are permanent. So, and the way that they work, and the reasons why they work is because it's always worked that way, and it's because it's kind of how people in general are wired, And so you can try and you're not the first ones to do.
No, man.
No, man.
Again, I'm going to put this out to you, okay? Tilting your head upside down to wash out your sinuses is not the first time somebody's done that.
Yeah, exactly.
I tried it. I almost died.
I waterboard myself daily.
Exactly,
So, yeah.
But me is like, well, how do I get the water in there? It's not just dripping. I have to breathe in.
You're right, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. So it's like, I'm the first person who's thought of this.
Right.
I'm a genius.
Yeah.
Right? So, yeah, I'm not saying that it's impossible, but I'm telling you, like, when you talked about juggling chainsaws, here's the thing. It's not just people can do it for 5 minutes. It's that most people have a hard enough time juggling one.
Yes. Yeah. I've been doing it for 22 years, man. I mean, so I've gotten cut a few times, man.
Of course. Yeah.
That isn't one chainsaw. And so, yeah, you know, like, it's just one of those things where, I don't know, there's, like, I have this real problem with, and I mean, I guess it's not really a problem, but it's just like, I'm very skeptical, all right, of people who have that, like, well, I'm missing out on something that I deserve kind of thing.
Then don't be married.
Exactly. Okay? Right. It's really easy. Okay? Don't be married. You can go pay for as much sex as you want in Vegas. It's fine.
Sure.
All right? It's waiting for you.
Yeah.
Okay? It's legal. Knock yourself out. All
well,
right? Okay.
No, it's not.
You're not going to get fucking arrested for it. We'll put it that way.
Yes, you can.
In Vegas?
Yes.
I thought there's places where you can't. Yeah.
That's right.
All right.
Vegas proper, it is quote unquote illegal.
So how far do you have to drive?
Do you want me to talk about this
No,
in detail?
man, I don't want to know about
no.
it in detail, but at the same point in time, it's possible. That's all I need to know, yes.
Just yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, fine. And so
You can do that here.
You can do that here. All right, sure. Yeah, you just turn it into something transactional. That's absolutely fine. But like this whole like it's the whole cake and eating thing, where it's like really you're defined by the things that you decide to give up, not the things that you choose to do. So, and when it comes down to it,
I guess.
Yeah. And those are the things that actually do kind of matter over the long run. And like, it's just, it's really shitty because the couple relationships that I've seen it absolutely wreck were like,
They have kids in them.
no, some of them have kids. So, and I mean, that's like I don't know, that's something I've kind of like hardened and softened on over the last few years. So, but still, at the same point in time, there's also this piece of it where it's just like, actually, you guys had a really good future.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You had a really good future and it would have been absolutely fantastic, but you just couldn't say no. All right. So at one point in time where you couldn't put your foot down, on something, that you knew was going to go poorly. And it just, it's heartbreaking when you see that happen. So I guess fortunately in the couple of cases where I actually have seen where that like actually engaged in an open polyamorous relationship, where it was kind of like, all right, well, at least nobody here was married yet. That's good. So, or, I mean, there might have been a kid involved or something like that, but, like, it wasn't exactly like you were a really fucking on-the-point dad anyway.
No, there's still plenty of ramifications. Well, lack of ramifications, I should say, to where you can be like, all right, well, I guess I have to find as many cardboard boxes as I can, and time to go.
Build myself a little fort.
Yeah, well, and again, this is the whole point. Is you just mentioned that target age where this happens a lot, right?
Oh, it's between like 25, 22 and like 30. So,
Well,
yeah.
and I'm talking about the people that are like 30 to 50. There's a lot of people in there who experiment with that crap in like that age. And they have started families and
yeah,
stuff.
okay.
Whatever damage.
I guess I haven't seen as many of those. So.
If you've already like established, like, all right, so I've gone down the family route, right? And, you know, that's fine. All right, I got it. And I understand. But, you know, if you want to just screw around in your 20s and like 30s and stuff, sure. You know, that's... How are you going to even figure out what you like and dislike unless you screw around and mess around with stuff in an earlier age?
You don't have to do that, though, man. I mean, if you decide at that point in time, see, the thing that I see is I see people who are like my age, 23, all right, when you get married and stuff like that, and they say, okay, fuck it, I'm going to do the house thing. And then about after 2 or 3 years of doing the house thing, they're like, oh, no, actually, I want to fuck around a little bit. It's like, bro, you made your choice.
Exactly.
Fucking suck it up, you know?
Or
at least, you know, or at least be straight up about this and actually exit gracefully. So,
like,
you know,
hey, this is what it turns out that I wanted, right? Yeah. I don't think this is fair for me to do to you because you've never expressed any interest in this.
Yeah.
And you have to make that evaluation of, all right, well, much like in all things, I can have the omelet or I can have the cereal, but they serve them as two fucking separate dishes at each respectable breakfast place for a reason. And you'd say, like, I went the mate school of like, I'm gonna make the stuffed ice cream cheeseburger steak.
Right. The bar, bowling alley, barbecue joint. Yeah.
Right,
big screen movie theater.
Yeah.
Laser tag.
Oh yeah. That's right. The what was it? The $1.2 million bar.
Yeah.
You
just took all the things that you liked and put them in a business plan. Congratulations, dude.
Fucking Natty Ice cost $12.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Natty Ice cost $12.
All right.
All right, man. So we're about a minute over.
Yep.
All right. I'm out of thoughts for the day. How about you?
You know what? We got into polyamory, and that's a
first.
I mean, there was one other thing I was going to talk to you about, but we'll save it.
Okay.
We'll save it.
Yeah. Well, we'll be back soon.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. As a matter of fact, this might be helpful when I have a sports expert round.
Oh yeah, that will be helpful.
Because I understand the Walmart people bought his team.
Oh yes, they did for a shitload of money. We'll have to talk about that. Yeah. So, all right, sounds good.
All right. So who are you?
I'm Pat.
I'm Jeffrey.
Hitting the button.
Okay.